Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And hello everyone. Welcome back. Congratulations because you have used your own time to solve this question number 3 and hopefully you have got the correct graph. So the graph should be like this. So it is the Z shape and the y-intercept here is positive 2. And the x-intercept here is positive z2 and this one is negative z2. And the domain for this function is negative infinity up to positive infinity. And the range of this function where we need to look for the interval of y, so which is from negative infinity up to positive 2 inclusive. Alright, so we have done discussing how to sketch the graph of quadratic function, suppose that when we have the case 1. So let us proceed with case 2. Alright, so case 2 happens when the quadratic can be factorized here. Alright, so we have 3 steps in order to sketch the graph of this kind, which is the first one is we need to identify its shape. As we have discussed earlier, it is either smile or Z shape. And the next one is we need to identify its x and y intercepts. Okay, and last but not least, we need to get the minimum or maximum point of the quadratic function. So since we have minimum or maximum point, which means we have points of x and y. So this x coordinate can be obtained easily by calculating the midpoint of the two x-intercepts. So we'll see this in the example later on. Alright, so let us consider the first question. Okay, so we have the same instruction, which is sketch the following graph and hence state its domain and range. So we have here fx equals to x squared plus 2x. So first and foremost, please identify the shape of this graph by looking at the coefficient of x squared here. It is positive, so the shape is smile shape. All right, and the next one is we need to get the x and y intercept. So x-intercept can be obtained, suppose when we try to factorize the function. Okay, so we can write here as x squared plus 2x equals to 0, which can be factorized, becomes x plus 2 equals to 0, and hence we should obtain x equals to 0 and x is equals to negative 2. So these two x values here are the two x-intercepts. Alright, so and of course the y-intercept for this case is just equals to 0 since there is no c in this function. Alright, so we have done the first step, which is the shape, and we've done the second one, which is the y-intercept and x-intercept. And let us now label first. So we've got this one 0, we've got this one as negative 2, and we need to get the minimum point for this function, right? So the x coordinate for the minimum point is just the midpoint between these two x-intercepts. So since we need to get the midpoint, we need to plus them, negative 2 plus 0, and divided by 2, which will obtain negative 1. So which therefore this one is the negative 1. And the y coordinate for the minimum point here is we just substitute the negative 1 into the function itself. So f negative 1 should give you, I believe, which is also negative 1. Alright, so this is the negative 1 here, and this is the minimum point of the graph, and we've got all of the ingredients to sketch the quadratic function, and let us try to join the points here. Alright, so the graph should be like this. Please make sure that the graph will not exceed the minimum point here. So the domain for this function is still negative infinity up to positive infinity. And the range for this function is, again, we need to look for the minimum point here. So it started with -1 here because that is the lowest point of interval of y where the graph can reach. So therefore our range should start from -1 up to positive infinity. Alright, so that's all for this video. We will continue with the second example in our next video. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Hope you understand. Bye.